Well, good morning, beautiful, and welcome to a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus, where we're going to be spending about the next 45 minutes together putting on our makeup and learning a Bible memory verse. And so we're going to do a little bit of beauty on the outside and a whole lot of beauty on the inside. The foundation verse for our podcast is Psalm 119, verse 11. I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. And this was, I think I taught this in a vacation Bible school like many, many years ago, and I may have told this story before, but this actually has a little bit of song with it, and I just absolutely adore a little bit, scripture in song. And so I think it helps you remember, retain, and constantly bring to the forefront of your mind scripture verses. And I think you'd probably be a little bit surprised to find out how much scripture is actually completely embedded inside of the music that you enjoy and listen to every single day on Christian radio or Spotify or wherever it is that you're listening to your music. I have a gospel Apple playlist that I just absolutely love. So anyway, so that is our foundation verse for this podcast. Now, last week we worked on Psalm 118, verse 1, and that was, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, and his steadfast love endures forever." So I hope you enjoyed working with that verse this past week and, really grabbing on to what that means. His steadfast love endures forever. You can't do anything about it. It is there and it is going to remain there, and it is for you. All right, so this week we're going to do a verse that maybe many of us knew kind of growing up. Maybe we can say it like super easy, or maybe you're new to the faith and you don't know this verse yet. One of my new favorite versions of this verse is actually coming from the Message. So we are going to take a look at that verse from the Message this week, and this is John 3:16. "This is how much God loved the world. He gave his son, his one and only son. And this is why, so that no one need be destroyed. By believing in him, anyone can have a whole and lasting life." John 3:16. And I know that to me, the Message just sort of brings it down and boils it down, puts it in our language and our vernacular so that we can, better grasp hold of that. And if we're grabbing hold of that, and if we're understanding that better and more effectively, that will help us be able to share that with those around us. So today, our easy makeup theme is going to be Turquois Glam. And so I am super excited about our look today. I think it's going to be a little bit of fun. You got a little bit of neutral going on, but then we also have that splash of turquoise. So I think it's going to be a good time. So let me get our verse scrolling across the bottom of our screen there. There we go. And I can hear some of you dinging already. So let me get the chat going. All right. Yes, good morning to all of you as well. I always turn this way because that's where I have the chat. So anytime you're seeing the side of my face, it's probably because I'm looking at the chat. All right. So let me see if I can get this tipped just a little bit better. There we go. So much better. Okay, it's a little humid today. Yes, I know my hair has gone just a tad bit on the crazy side. So we will get that all fixed for the final look picture afterwards. All right, so we are going to get started with our all-nighter. This is the Urban Decay primer. So this has just a pump on there, and you're literally just going to do one pump, and that is all that you need for the entire face. So one pump, we're going to blend that between our fingertips here. This is going to help to smooth out fine lines and wrinkles, even out any kind of pore little discrepancies that you've got going on. If you've got combo skin like me, it's going to help that foundation to sit tightly and last better. If you have dry skin, you can feel already that little bit of moisture going on there. That's going to help to kind of cover and even out maybe any dry patches that you have. We are specifically going to go over, I know, right? The edge of our lips here so we can make sure that our lip liner stays where it's supposed to stay. Nothing's creeping out where you don't want it, especially as you are older. That is going to be of special importance because our lips are going to kind of dry out. The skin around the lips is going to dry out a little bit. And so we need everything to stay put. So that Urban Decay All Nighter Primer is going to help with that. So we are going to move to The It Cosmetics by Under Eye. I am the shade 11 Light Nude. Come in, visit me with me in the store though, and we'll find your perfect shade. And yeah, that on the back of my hand, I was swatching for today's podcast. Yeah. No, nothing's wrong with my skin. It's just a little swatch going on. All right. So a little bit of this is going to go a long way. So we're just going to take a little bit of that. You're going to put this anywhere you're trying to conceal something. So for me, it's going to be under the eye here. Got a little darkness. Got some redness going on here. I got a little something right there. And then we're just going to lightly with that middle finger so that we're being gentle. We're just going to blend that out and try not to poke yourself in the eye with it like I just did. And we're just going to kind of sort of big picture put it where we want it to go. This concealer does better when you let it warm up to your body temperature for just a little bit. So we're just going to like talk for a second and let that sort of warm up for us. I'm going to be using the It Cosmetics. This is the Star Brush that they actually created this for Ulta to go with their new Natural Matte Foundation, which guess what? We're going to be using in just a minute. So the Star Brush has some great shapes, kind of helps everything to go in and out of where you want it, you know, in small places. Like the shape of the handle too. It just kind of like sets perfectly right there. All right, so enough talking. We've let it warm up. So we're just going to blend all that out. And you just need kind of a light stroke there. We're going to make sure that everything is smoothed out and blended out before we put our foundation on. Get right up around that eye area there. This will also help for things to blend out and not kind of seep into if you have any wrinkles going on there for the people around my age on this podcast. Maybe you're younger, you know, maybe you just have wrinkles, you know, genetics are what genetics are. All right, so now we're going to switch to the It Cosmetics. This is the new CC Natural Matte, and I am the shade Light Neutral. And it's just habit. I just, you know, always do this. You just got to do this. I do store it down, so all the product is mostly down towards the bottom. One pump of this is going to do all that you need. So just take your brush, give it one pump right there in the middle, just one full pump like that. That will do your entire face. So now we're just going to cap that back so nothing crazy happens. We're going to take what we've got. We're just going to kind of tap it around. Looking for a big picture here, just trying to get it kind of where you want it. And then just keep working your way around your face until everything is blended out nicely and seamlessly. I'm going to work it up into that hairline just a smidge so we don't end up with any ending spots. And blend it right up to that concealer that you used. We're also going to blend along the neckline here. You can kind of come down your neck with it if you want. You know, let's say maybe you've got some kind of discoloration on your neck. I do have a little bit here. I had a really bad poison ivy case once upon a time. I just don't care. So you're especially going to want to put setting spray on that if you do that, so you don't end up with transfer to your clothes. Setting spray will definitely make the difference between having that transfer to your clothes or not. And yes, we'll get to the setting spray in just a minute. I'll give you my recommendation for that. All right, so we're just blending out. We're making sure everything is all nice and pretty. And wait till you see the lashes we're going to use today. They are ridiculous. I love them. I think I might have wore them once here, but you know, every once in a while, not every day for me, but every once in a while, you need a good ridiculous pair of lashes. Today is that day. We got yucky weather outside. We're supposed to get a little bit of rain this afternoon. And so I am going to cheer myself up for the gloom and doom with a ridiculous pair of lashes. All right. So now that we've got our foundation all evened out and blended out, we are going to set it. I am using the Hourglass. This is the veil. And I am going to be using the Beauty Blender. This is their puff that they have. Love the pointy tip of this for around the eye area and this rounder end for the rest of the face. So we're just going to tip over that veil and give it a couple of taps. And that is going to put all that powder right there in that center reservoir for us. So we're just going to tap that tip into that, blend that, work that around that eye area on both sides. Using it to set that concealer and that foundation. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do whatever area of your face you want first. I just like to do the eye because you started with that. So let's just get that thing set first. All right, now we're going to flip that Beauty Blender around and use that back side there. And we're just going to set the rest of our foundation here. And just kind of pressing in there. And I don't think I gave it quite enough taps. So if you have to do that, just kind of put the lid on just a little bit again, and then just tip it upside down and tap it. You don't gotta like screw it all the way back on. And then you'll end up with a little bit more in that reservoir, and you can keep going on with what you got. Just pressing that into that foundation. So a few things that I like about this hourglass. Number one, I don't know how they do it, but it just goes on and glides on so smoothly and effortlessly. It's also got a little bit of almost a banana tint to it. So it does kind of help to brighten and illuminate without actually adding like any color. You're not getting any coverage from this. This is just setting your foundation. So just a really nice, versatile, and for me with combo skin, doesn't claim to have any oil control properties or anything, but I feel like it does a really good job of keeping everything in place and kind of containing that oil. Also, if you blot about halfway through the day like I have to do, one thing that this powder does is stays where it's supposed to. You don't have to worry about it lifting with whatever you're blotting with. Now, I will tell you, it also depends on what you're blotting with. Much preferred to use a tissue paper or actual blotting swatches if you can find those. I know NYX had some at some point. Beauty Bakery has some. I think MAC had some at some point. I'm not sure who's currently making them, but those blotter papers are amazing because it doesn't actually remove your makeup, so then you're not having costly discard. So just a little tip for you. All right, so now we have evened everything out and we look like a ghost. So now we're going to put a little back color in exactly where we want it to go. So I am going to be using IT Cosmetic and MAC brushes today. So I have a favorite brush I wanted to show you. I have no idea why it's my favorite brush. It's a ridiculous brush, and I've actually never really used the brush, but I love this brush. This is an IT Cosmetics brush. It says Velvet Luxe Impress Fan Brush. I have no idea, but is that not just a glorious, beautiful, unnecessary brush? So the only thing I can think was, like, if something dropped and you need to, switch off a large area, it would work great for that. I don't know. It's just so beautiful. I had to have it. I also have I'll show you that at another time. So I have a couple other brushes that are sort of ridiculous. So I'm just curious. Share with me this next week your ridiculous brush. I would love to see what it is that you have that you don't really need, you don't really use, but you just love it. And for me, for whatever reason, that brush is my brush. Okay, it's so nice and it's very soft. Yeah. I wish I could let you feel it. I don't think they actually make that one anymore. So, okay, enough talk about brushes. So I'm going to be using the IT Cosmetic brush. This is actually a concealer brush. We're going to use this side with the bronzer, and then we're going to use this side with our highlighter. So speaking of bronzer, we're going to be using the Hula bronzer today. This is from Benefit, and this is just a nice, universal, little more warm than cool, but it's kind of a nice balance. Just gives you a good bronzing that you can use for contouring as well. So we're going to start out with the flat side of this brush, and then we'll use the side. So with the flat side, we're just going to put a little on there. We're going to go from the ear to the nose in kind of a little bit of a, I guess see? And we're just going to do that right above where the hollow of that cheek is, to sort of recess that area just a little bit more, give a little more illusion that I have more, cheek shape than I actually do. And then we're going to do the same side on the other there. So if you kind of like this, you can find the apple of your cheek right there, and you're just going to go like right to the bottom of that. And then we're going to go up the side of the temple right there. And you decide on the degree of contour that you want. You're just doing like a natural everyday look and you just want a little something, something. Or you're doing a little bit of a glam look. You want to make a little more of an impact. Then, do a little bit more and that'll give you a little more impact. Now we're going to switch to the side of the brush. We're going to keep our face in a neutral so that we can see where our jawline actually ends. We're going to go from the ear to right about here. There you go. Using the side of that brush, we're just going to give a nice contour right there. And that's going to give a little bit of a shade and the illusion that we have a little less double chin than we actually have. We're just playing games with makeup. Still using the side of the brush. We're going to just a little bit on here. We're going to go right beside the nose, going from right about here down to the tip. And we are going to contour that nose, give it a little bit less width than what it has. And then we're going to end it a little bit more than where it actually is. So we're just going to shape that nose, little narrow, little tipped. All right. Once we've got our bronzer on there, now I need to add the other side of that, which is going to be the highlighter. So I am using the MAC. This is a Double Gleam Extra Dimension Skin Finish. And what is this one? I have my contacts in, so I can't read. Okay, so we're using this one here. I think it's the second lightest one. Just kind of a nice champagne color. It has a little bit of sparkle to it. Can you catch that? See how it gives just a little bit of shimmer? Not too much, but just enough. So now we're going to use the wide end of this. Just going to give it a couple swirls. We're going to hit the top of that cheekbone there, and then right beside the brow, up on that temple. There you go. Couple swirls. Same thing on the other side. Couple swirls. From the tip of the nose up a little bit. And then down. We're avoiding where we just put that bronzer. Making sure that we hit that Cupid's bow right there. So when we get to our lips in just a minute, that will help accentuate and give us a little more plumpy look. Plumpy. Is that a word? I'm not sure. It is now. Okay. Man, I am in a goofy mood this morning. All right, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of color. Now we've defined some shape. Now we're going to put just a little bit of color back in there. And this is going to be the Juvia's Place. This is the volume 4. And today, with everything that we're doing, we got a lot of color going on. I think I'm actually going to use the bottom one today. Ooh, which evidently has become my favorite because look, that one's hit pan. So we're going to use that one there. I am going to be using this is actually a MAC brush, just a traditional blush brush, and you're just going to use the tip of it there. These are very pigmented, so you literally only need to give it a couple of taps in there. We're going to go between the bronzer and the highlighter right there, and then up between the two of those on our temple. Couple of taps between the two, up between the two on the temple. Now I like to give just a tap, get you a little bit up here. Whatever's left on your brush, hit the tip of your nose and the chin. You're just kind of evening out that color. Oops. There we go. Yes, whatever blush color it is that you have chosen today. That's right. I really like the Juvia's Place. So a little bit goes a long way. So your blush just lasts an amazingly long amount of time. All right. So we are going to do a neutral lip today because we're doing something kind of powerful with our eyes. So I'm going to be using well, actually, before we get to that, let's say our verse together. So let me wait till it rolls around on your screen there, and then we'll dip into our Juvia's Place liner. So it is almost around. If you haven't read the Message Bible before, too, I highly encourage that. The book of James that I'm working on, I'm hoping this afternoon to be able to wrap that up. But the book of James that we're working on is all based on the message. Okay, now lest I talk past this. Here we go. This is how much God loved the world. He gave his son, his one and only son. And this is why, so that no one need be destroyed. By believing in him, anyone can have a whole and lasting life. John 3:16. All right, so now to our lips. We are going to be using the lip liner by Juvia's Place. This is a Luxe lip liner in the color Coffee Bean. So because my lips are a little more pale, we're going to be using this and then sort of blend it out just a little bit so it's not quite as much. If you have a little more pigment to your skin, you'll need to do a little bit less blending than I have to do. Okay, here we go. So we're just going to line right, well, let me not talk while I'm doing that. We're going to line on the line of our lips, like on the edge of your lip. And then we're going to blend in just a little bit and then we'll put our lipstick on. So here we go. Okay, take a little bit back. Make sure you like the shape that you just created. Okay. Now, I just got asked, do we need to use a lip liner? So the answer is need. Maybe not. If you have any problems with your lipstick bleeding, then definitely yes. But I will ask you this. If you have a picture and you're going to hang it on the wall, do you hang that picture on the wall without a frame on it? No. Why? Because the frame finishes the picture. It helps that picture to stand out from the face of the wall, right? You're creating a difference between the wall and whatever color it's painted with the picture that's in the frame. You want the picture in the frame to be accentuated by, the picture in the frame to be accentuated by the frame that's on it. That is exactly what lip liner does. So you can use opposing lip liner colors. You can use matching lip liner colors. You can do like we're doing today and ombre the lip color. Good grief. I love glitter liner as lip liner. But something to line it to just kind of give that frame on that lip so that that lip becomes a physical feature, something that stands out from just your face. So that's my personal opinion about it. But I have told you 100 times before, there are no steadfast rules in makeup other than, get your fingers dirty, get in there and finger paint. All right. So now we're going to take just our middle finger and we're just going to blend that line out. So we're just softening it ever so slightly. So when we put our lipstick on, which is a nude, here in just a minute, it'll just have a nice seamless blending together. So for the lipstick today, I'm using the MAC. This is the satin finish. This is called Bad and Bare. Bad and Bare. All right. So very nude. I know it's not my typical, but our eyes have got a lot going on today. So we're going to pull it back just a little bit on the lips and let our eyes be the focus today. All right. There you go. Just kind of a nice, pleasant, gives you a touch of color, but it's really a nude that's just going to give you that wonderful satin finish. Love the creamy feeling of the MAC lipsticks. Love how they wear. Man, they hang tough. MAC lipsticks are just the best. I love them. Okay, so now we're going to have some fun with the eyes as we do our Turquois Glam. So we're going to be using like 3 different kind of eyeshadow things today. So let me show you all of what we're going to be using. So we're going to start out with Well, actually, if I'm going to do it in the order that we're going to put them on. So we're going to use the Warrior 3. This is by Juvia's. And we are going to be using this color right here. Is that one named? It is. Congo. So we're going to use that. And then we're going to come in with the Coffee Shop. Actually, we're going to start with the Coffee Shop. Anyways, in Coffee Shop, we're going to be using this one here. We're going to use this one here. We're going to use this one here just a little teeny bit. So we're going to kind of be living in that. These on the Coffee Shop do not have names. So we'll just kind of play along with that. You can pause the podcast as you need so you can keep a look at what's going on here. And yes, I'm using an old school. This is an Urban Decay. They still make this color though. It's just now in a square clear box. But this is called Blackout. And this is nothing but a super awesome black. I don't really ever use this as like a color, but it helps to give dimension to eye looks that you're doing. So let me actually, there we go. So it's just going to add dimension on the outside corner of the eye to kind of fill in and give just a wonderful, well, you'll see. It adds so much dimension. So I will use a smudger with that and just ever so slightly a small amount for two reasons. One reason is if you go gooping it on a brush and you get any fallout from that black, that's going to be a mess to clean up. Second reason is it just doesn't take much. And I love what a smudger does because with a smudger, you don't get enough really on the brush to like fall out and do damage. You'd have to like kind of hunk it on there. So just why I love the smudger with that black brush. Okay, so we are going to start out with our all over shadow brush, which yes, that's a concealer brush. We're going to start out in that Juvia's palette and we're going to be using this color right here. So just get that brush in there and we're going to right up on that brow bone with that light color. If you have darker skin than I do, then you might choose to use a different, I mean, there's beautiful colors in here. So just find a color that is similar to your skin tone. And you're just going to put that there. It's just going to give you something to blend out to as we put on the eyeshadow. And then we'll probably come back with that a little bit in the end just to make sure we can kind of clean that up and make that a nice, clean area. So now that we got that going on down there, we are going to grab an actual all over shadow brush. And we're going to use this one here. And now we're going to grab that Warrior 3 from Juvia's Place. And we're going to be using that Congo right here. So we're going to start out you could do shadow on both sides, but really it's best to just do shadow on one side. So we're just going to fill in. Oh my gosh, is that not beautiful? We're just going to fill in that whole part of that lid to start with. We're going to go to right about there. So about 3/4 of the way across the lid. All the way down to that lash line. We're going to make sure we catch the inside of that eyelid there. And we're going to go up to about right there. So with this, when you look straight forward, you're going to want to see that blue just above that crease there. So we're just going to make sure that we've got that going high enough. Take a look forward. You can see it just peeking above there. Now I just need to get it all the way over here too. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to take our dusting brush, just a nice fluffy one. If you got anything, just swish it off of there. If you do that as you go along, it'll make it easier for you to have a clean face at the end. Now we're going to do that same thing on the other side. And yes, it is true. A lot of people like to put their eyeshadow on first. I just don't prefer that. But if that's what you want, then I guess you could watch this video backwards. Okay, so again, we're going to make sure we go all the way to that inside corner of the eye with that Congo. And then all the way down to the bottom of that lash line. And 3/4 of the way across. And you don't need to be like too exact with this. We are going to come in here with a nice chocolate and blend that out. So you can just sort of like messy end it over here at that 3/4. Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to go up, matching the height on the other side. Okay, looks like it needs to go a little higher over here. Yes, it is a curse of a hooded eye. I don't know, there's like this internal fear that you're going to go too high or something. Okay, look forward, make sure that they're both pretty good and even. I'm just going to do that right there. Make sure I got the inside. Whoop, there we go. Okay, now we're gonna do that same thing over on this side. There we go. So now the beginning part of our turquoise is in place. We're gonna go back to our coffee shop palette, and we are going to get an angled shadow brush. So that it's kind of like an all over shadow, but you can see it's got an angle to it, a little bit of angle. And we're going to be using just this flat edge right here, not the sides, just that flat edge right there. So we're going to be going into, let's do this color right here, whatever that one. Yeah, they don't have names, so it makes it just a tad more difficult. So you're just going to, the tip of it, you're going to get into that brown. And we're going to do that right here on the outside and fill in that quarter of lid that we left empty, just like that. And we're going to take it and we're going to put it right where that blue ended up here as well, about halfway. And it can be a little bit messy here. You don't need to be exact just yet. So again, outside edge there. Just filling in that quarter that we left empty with that blue. And now we're going to take the edge and go about halfway with that color right where that blue ended. If you need to turn the brush the other direction so that you can get a nice shape over here, do that. Okay. Now we're going to take our brush, dust that away. There you go. All right. Now, I know, I just love brushes. You can keep using the brushes that you have, but I prefer to not have to switch. So I'm just going to grab another shadow brush. With this one, unlike the blue one where we use the side to do, this time we're just going to use the tip of this one, and we're going to use a little bit lighter of a color. We're going to go into this one right here, and you're just going to ever so slightly use the tip of that, like literally tap, tap. We're just going to get a little bit on the tip there. We're going to use that right here on the inside, and then we're going to work that over the edge that we did on the outside here. So we're just going to use that to kind of blend out that brown over there. It's just a little bit lighter of a color. And don't worry too much. We're going to come back with that lighter color on the top there. But you can see that that's really giving us a nice, adding a little bit of kind of a neutral to what we've got going on with that blue. So we're going to take that color, and where the blue and the brown meet, we're just going to sort of use that between the two of those to blend them out just a little bit. You can go back to the blue brush that you have, and I usually keep, so I'll show you how I usually do this. I'll set the palettes like this. This one is the lid, and then I set this one on it. That way I can have everything open. It's almost like you just made, like a mega palette yourself. It just helps you have access to everything all at one time. So I'm just going to take the tip of this, dip that in just a little bit, and use that to help blend that out over here. And we're just going to kind of clean that up there. Okay, blending out here, cleaning up here. Okay. Looks like I got a little something. There we go. I'm going to take the shadow brush that we used at the very beginning. I'm just going to kind of tap the tip of that into that light shade that I used. So whatever shade you used, we're just going to work that over that a little bit, blend that out on the inside there and on the outside there. All right. So before we go any further with this, we're going to add a little bit of liner on the top and the bottom, and then we'll work on the shadow on the underside of the eye. So at this point, if you are like me, I have to grab a little magnifying mirror, and I'm using, this is the NYX retractable eyeliner in black. So we're just going to tip that out just a little bit. We don't want too much out. Number one, we don't want to break it off. No wasted product. But number two, we don't want a big smeary line. We just want a little bit so we have something to blend out with. So we're going to go from the outside corner of the eye. We're going to do a line about halfway across the eye just to give us something to play with. So outside corner about halfway. There we go. Same thing on the other side. And then we're going to, on the bottom here, we're going to go about halfway right where the lashes are meeting your skin. And at this point, while you're looking close up, if you can see any fallout, it's not really going to matter because we're getting ready to put some eyeshadow down there anyways. And we just want to go about halfway on that. Now we will probably add some liner on our waterline as well for this particular look. I think that's going to be really pretty. So now we're going to grab one kind of smudger and then we'll use a different kind in a minute. So for right now, I'm using kind of an elongated smudger, and we're just going to use the tip of that smudger in the shadows. So we're going to start out in the darker brown that we used in that coffee shop. You're just tap, tap in that color there. We're going to work from the outside edge here to a little more than halfway, right where we added that liner. We're just going to blend that out nicely. So you want to go all the way from the corner there. There you go. We want the browns to meet on that outside corner. So the smudger that you have, unless you have two of them, I really should have two, but I don't. So I'm just going to wipe the tip of that off. And now I'm going to use that tip and I'm going to put it in that beautiful Congo color that we're using. We're just going to do the tip in there, and we're going to catch the inside of the eye and then meet that to where the brown is. So we're going to go to the inside of the eye and then go across to where the brown. And then you can use the tip of that smudger to make sure that we got a good shape going on here. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go around the inside corner. If I could get that right next to the brown. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so give a look ahead. I'm going to wipe away that. Make sure that your brown is nicely meeting the blue, that we've got an equal distance from both sides over there, that you can see the blue is blended out. Let me just, where's my smudger at? Looks like right here. Right here. Okay, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So while we've got this going on, now we're going to take a different kind of smudger. Remember I mentioned that we were going to use two different ones. So we got this smudger here. This is just kind of like a bullet smudger. This is what you're going to use the black for. So grab that black out. Again. Black out, seriously, just a nice dark color. It's going to add a little dimension. So we're not going to use a whole lot of this. We're just going to use it sparingly. And we're going to make sure that we don't put too much on the brush because we do not want fallout from this one. So we're going to take this and we're just going to go like that. Seriously. It's going to go on the outside edge here, right on that liner that you did. And you're just going to kind of tap that. So you can see the difference between those two sides. And now let's do that same thing on the other side. Again, we've got, it's a little wider on the outside edge here. And then we're just blending it nicely to that liner on that center there. Black is just such a nice accent color. Okay. And literally that's all you need to do with that. So now we're going to dust that away. We're going to finish this out with a nice black liquid liner. And the lashes that I have today, I was going to go ahead and do a little bit wider on the outside edge of this, but the lashes I got on today are pretty ridiculous. I don't really need to do that. So I am using the Too Faced Better Than Sex. What is this? Oh, the Too Faced Better Than Sex Easy Glide Liquid Liner. And this is in the shade black. They do have a nice brown one now, but this one's actually the black one. So we're going to go from the, here, let me get my mirror. We're going to go from the outside edge and we're just going to line all the way to the inside edge. And one of the reasons we're doing this is so that when we get our lashes on, we are not going to have any kind of a gap or space that you can visibly see between the lash and your eyelid. Okay, see the difference between the two sides? Really makes that eye pop there, brings out that pupil. So same thing on the other side. Okay, nice. So while that is drying down for us, now once that dries down, that thing isn't going to go anywhere. So you just need to let it dry down for a second. Give it a little fanning if you want to. Oh, I'm looking down and I can see my video. Wow, that came out super pretty, didn't it? Okay, so now whatever your brow product is that you are going to be using, you are going to get that now. So we're going to finish our picture frame of our eyes by putting our brow product on. Now I have orange fashion colored hair right now, so I am going to be using, this is the Morphe by Nyan, and this is the Tequila Sunrise. This was one of those universal pencils that they did. You could use it as a lip liner, an eyeliner. You could blend it out for an eyeshadow, or in my case, you can use it as a brow product. So whatever your brow product is, we are just going to outline our brows here, or fill in, or pomade, or whatever it is that you got going on here. And give our brows a little bit of shape here. I need to give me a little brow where I don't actually have it because I was not blessed with a lot of brow hair. You know, that's true. I get asked all the time, did I tweeze it out when I was younger? No, I just didn't get brows hair. I mean, did I tweeze? Yes. Did I tweeze it out? No. Have I ever shaved my brows? And is that how that happened? No, I just didn't get a lot of brow hair. All right, so there's one. And don't worry, we're not leaving it like that. And now we're going to outline the other one. Okay, I'm going to move it in a little bit. And then fill that out. I know it does look a little crazy until we get it brushed out. Okay, so take a look back. Make sure you got both sides pretty even. There we go. Then you're going to take your brow brush or spoolie, and we're just going to brush that out a little. And then we'll come back with that eyeshadow underneath it here in just a second to make sure that we didn't displace any of the shadow. So for right now, we are just going to brush those brows in place and sort of soften that filler that we just did. If you use a brow setter, you can go ahead and do your brow setter now. Then we're going to grab, so pause it if you need to. Then we're going to grab our shadow brush that we had. Just give it a couple of taps in that very first shadow that we had. We're just going to work up right to that brow. Make sure we didn't displace anything. Make sure everything is blended beautifully. Going to tap in that again. Catch the other side. There we go. Now, one thing I see over here is I've got a little bit of kind of grainy happening. So we're just going to grab the tip of that brown and make sure that we've blended that out nicely. There we go. So, super love that. All right, so on with our next thing that we're going to be doing. So I told you that I was going to be using a ridiculous set of lashes. So let me share with you these lashes. Okay, these actually went on clearance in my store, so you'll see the clearance tag. These are by Ardell, and they're called Big Beautiful Lashes. This one is the OOTD. I have no idea what that stands for, so if it's something bad, I apologize. So I have already trimmed these, and you can see a good amount of that had to get trimmed off for me. But these have sort of a dual edge to them. There's an outside edge that's very faint and wispy, and then the inside edge is definitely bigger and more intense. I don't know why, but I just love these. So I'm going to be using the Ardell Big Beautiful Lashes. I'm using the Allure 18-hour lash glue, and we'll have some fun with these. So remember, if you are going to trim your lashes, maybe you've never worn them before, and so you need to make sure that they're fit for the right size of you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take those lashes out of the package. You are going to take your lash tool, like this one here from Velour. Just grab it in the middle, set that lash on there, give it kind of what I would call like a dry fit. Most people are going to have to trim a little something from the outside edge of the lashes. And remember, you want to trim from that outside edge. Most lashes, even though they may not be called a flare, are going to have a certain amount of flare. So you want that edge. These are a little bit harder to tell because you can see there's not a whole lot of flare on here. This one's not actually listed as a flare, but it more or less it is. So you would trim off from the outside edge here. Once you've got that done, you're going to take the lashes and just set it down in front of you, kind of like in the order that you're going to put them on, so that you don't lose track of which one goes which way. Have I ever done that before? Yes. As a matter of fact, I have done that before. I have put the right on the left and the left on the right, and you know what? It looks a little wonky, but we just chalk it up to, no, I did it that way on purpose. So, beauty is one of those subjective things. So if you make a mistake, just okay. So press on, move on. I remember once when my kids were little, we had been grocery shopping, and we came in and they were kind of, goofing around a little bit. And as we were putting the groceries up, they weren't doing exactly what they're supposed to. And a bag fell off the back of the Suburban, and we had cherry pie all in the box and messed up and all of that. So similar to the lashes that went on the wrong eyelid, I could have got all upset and had a tantrum about it and messed up my shadow and tried to fix it and all of that. But in the case of the cherry pie, I went in the house. The girls thought I was mad. Grabbed some forks, and we literally sat down at the back of the Suburban and ate cherry pie out of the box from the stuff that didn't touch the ground. So, make the most of it. My thing is, if you do whatever you do with confidence, everybody is going to follow suit and compliment you about it. So just do it. Be bold. Be confident about it. You'll be totally fine. So back to the lashes. So we're going to grab our lashes right there in the center. We're going to grab that Allure glue, and we're going to put glue or adhesive in two different places. So the first spot that we're going to put the adhesive is on the edge of the band. That's going to go all the way from one end to the other. Cover that so that you can see. Why I like clear adhesive is because you can see it. And it doesn't have latex. Then if you switch the band like this, you're going to see there's like a flat edge. So also catch that flat edge rim with that adhesive as well, making sure that you pay special attention to the outside edges of those lashes. We're going to set that one down, making sure it does not touch the surface that it's set on. And then we're going to do that same thing on that other set of lashes. It does take about maybe, 15, 20 seconds for that lash adhesive to be ready to put on. So by the time you get done with the one side, the other side's just about ready. So depending on how much adhesive you have stuck on there. So you can tell once you get the adhesive on there, you're going to have kind of a nice shiny white happening. So you can tell that it's about ready to go when the white is starting to turn a little bit clear. And you know what I just remembered? I do not have mascara on yet. We'll have to do that afterwards because I'm talking too much. So with the lashes, the adhesive is going to start to turn a little bit clear, and you'll see it gets a little bit less shiny. When you're about there, then you're about ready to put them on. If you let it set a little bit too long, you may have to come in and touch it up. But for the most part, you should be fine. You just need it to be a little bit tacky. So when you put the lash to your eye, if it feels cold and wet, you probably didn't let it set quite long enough. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab that lash in the center. You can kind of fan it down to make sure you've got it nice and good and dry. And we're going to take that lash right in the center of our lashes, and we're going to set it down right there. And then I'm going to grab a mirror so I can see what I'm doing. Then you go and grab the outside edge of that, put that on that line you've got. Inside edge of that, work that on the line that you made. And we're just going to press that in to the eyelid there so you get nice, good connection. And just keep working your way around until you feel like everything is where it should be and it's not moving. I'm just going to blend my lashes in there a little bit. Okay, now we're going to grab the lash on the other side, and we're going to do that same thing. So we're holding that in the center. We're going to set that right in the center of the eye. Right where our lash line is meeting our lashes. Right where you put that black eyeliner. We're going to come to the outside edge here. Get that on that outside edge. Just keep walking that around. And you can kind of feel when that starts to dry down perfectly. Now, if you ever do, what I just did, where I forgot to put the mascara on, you don't need to freak out or worry about it. Your adhesive is already, good and set. So just go ahead and put the lashes on, and then you can mascara afterwards. Not the best world situation, but you know what? It happens. Okay, now, while we're letting that set, I want to take my beauty blender, and I'm going to take the pointy side of that. Looking down, I'm just looking at that shadow. That is so beautiful. Okay, so we're going to take the pointy side of that. We're going to dip that just into our powder, and we're going to go under that eye area. Just making sure that we remove any fallout that might have happened, because this was some dark stuff that we worked with today. So we're just going to make sure that we lift that area. Nice. Just helps clean it up a little bit. All right. And sometimes I do that anyways, just because it kind of gives you a little bit of highlight. Now, if you want to, you can also come back. You already have highlighter on here. You can just go back there. When I see I got this right here. There we go. Okay, so now we need to add a little bit of mascara because I had forgot the mascara. So I am using the Perversion. This is the waterproof from Urban Decay. And I am just going to put a light coat on my lashes. Now, if you have black lashes already, you are blessed. Consider yourself blessed. And you can totally skip this. But you can see my lashes are lighter, and you can see those in front of the lashes. So we're going to kind of even out the playing field of that. So I'm just going to take that mascara, and I'm going to only hit my lashes. So just a little bit. Making sure not to tug too much. We just want a little bit. There you go. And you can see the difference between the two now. And we're just going to give my lashes a little bit of a coat here. I know. Are those lashes? Look, they're just beautiful. They're just beautiful. Ridiculous and beautiful. Okay, so we're going to catch the bottom lashes now. Now, this one you're going to do just like you would have done if you had done them first. So we're going to do a full coverage on the bottom lashes. I want to make sure we get those nice and covered so they balance out those top ones. There we go. And now we're going to do that same thing on the other side. Okay. Now the very last thing, well, two things actually. So the next thing is I told you that you can leave it just like it is right now. Your eyes are a little bit open. You can see everything, but I kind of like, for this particular look, because I've got the lashes and I've got a lot of stuff happening here, I would like to have some black on my waterline. So I'm going to take the Urban Decay Legend is specifically made for the waterline. So that's like definitely the best. I didn't grab it this morning though, so we're going to use this one. And we're just going to get a little black on that waterline there. There you go. See the difference between the two sides? I just think it looks nice for this particular look. Okay. Nice. Look at that. Amazing. Beautiful. So this is definitely something that you could do if you were going out somewhere. You got a fancy day at work. You could do it for that. Maybe you're just having one of those days. It happens to me every once in a while where you wake up and you're just not feeling it. This is a beautiful turquoise look for the just not feeling it day. So you can see how having that lip a little bit pulled down and neutral just balances that blue and that turquoise and the brown off the eyelid just so beautifully. So at this point, we would set our makeup with our Urban Decay setting spray. I still have forgotten to pick up another one of those. So if you have combination skin, you want to make sure that you're using the D-Slick. Absolutely love that one. That's going to help control that oil. And then it is also going to set that makeup. I had a lady that was in the other day, she's going on a cruise, and that is definitely going to help with that, help for your makeup to last longer. It is, to a certain extent, it's going to waterproof it. I mean, if you're in the water for a couple of hours, nothing's really going to help that. It'll just sort of gradually melt away. But it's going to keep it, in place and holding tough as best as it can. Or you can use the original. Now they've added the new hydrating one. So if you have dry skin, you can add that setting spray that's also got the hydration in there. So, that's beautiful for our dry skin friends as well. Has kind of a light watermelon smell. So come in and check that out with me. Love to visit with you. All right, so let us look at our verse again, and we'll say that together. So let me get it on there. There we go. This is how much God loved the world. He gave his son, his one and only son. And this is why, so that no one need be destroyed. By believing in him, anyone can have a whole and lasting life. And that is John 3:16 in the Message version. So it has been a joy to hang out with you this morning. I look forward to chatting with you throughout the week on social media and seeing you at my store in Midlothian, Texas. So we will be working on that verse all week long and saying that together. So let me send you out with a blessing. So, and just a reminder before we get to there, just a reminder that we do have coming out the Book of James. As soon as the Book of James Coloring Planner Journal comes out, we'll be using that, and we will be working for the next 12 months on memorizing the Book of James. And I am super excited to be able to do that with you right alongside you for that. In fact, I have a question for you. I have been considering starting a Facebook group so that we can kind of, journal and talk through that as we're going through it. If that is something that would interest you, give me a shout out. Let me know, yay, great idea. I'd love to be part of a Facebook group for that. Or, maybe not so much into the Facebook group thing. Let me know what you think about that, because I want it to be for you and I to be able to memorize that Book of James together. So again, you can find a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus on your favorite podcast platform. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Instagram, Facebook, you get it. It's all over the place. All right. So I have told you how much I love scripture and song. So now that I have a little bit of my voice back, let us sing this blessing together. If you know it, just join me, whether you're on live or you're looking at this later on. Okay, here we go together. The Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his face toward you and give you peace. And that comes from Numbers 6:24 through 26. See, I told you were going to find scripture and song. Whether you knew it or not, God has prepared that way for you. So again, it has been a great time hanging out with you today. I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful week this week. Love you.